Guys, what's going on? Welcome back to another episode of the Mo Money Mindset right here on the YouTube channel. Thank you for joining. I want to say a special shout out to everyone that's been on the, everyone that's been subscribing and things these past couple of weeks. We've missed 2 or 3 of our upload dates and times. Had a lot going on. As you saw in today's headliner, or should I say the title, it is Lawn Care Lies. We're going to talk about them. We're going to get into them. And I'm going to try and be really not as detailed and not get into the weeds of them so much, because I'm really going to do that on the podcast. So if you really want to go deeper, have a deeper dive into some of these things that I'm going to talk about right now in this episode and on today's video, please go check out the podcast when it's released on Sunday. With that being said, let me open my book. Lie number 1, lawn care business sucks. Lie number 1 is lawn care business sucks. The truth is entrepreneurship sucks. All right, it's not just like, I don't care what business you run, own, or do. Being an entrepreneur sucks. There's a certain skill set that is required to be an entrepreneur. You're gonna make a lot of mistakes trying to develop that skill set. It's gonna take a lot of hard work. You're gonna have to endure a lot of tough times, a lot of uncertainty. You're gonna find out you don't get a lot of sleep. Sometimes you don't eat a lot. I'm not talking about from physically doing work. I'm talking about the mental. I'm talking about the emotional weight that it puts on you, the strain that it can put on your relationships, on your marriages, on your friendships, on your hobbies and other things you like to do. And entrepreneurship demands a lot out of you. On a scale of 1 to 10, I think of entrepreneurship as a 15. So you need to make sure that you got 15 gears, wins and losses. You're gonna experience both. You're not just gonna always win, come out on top, do good. You are gonna face losses, and 9 times out of 10, the losses, they generally outweigh the wins. I'm just gonna be real. They feel heavier. They leave you more discouraged than the encouragement of a good win. Losses are very tough. A lot of the time it's going to suck. But if you can get through that, you can definitely be rewarded. You'll definitely be well rewarded, and it'll all be worth it. We are here on the whiteboard. I'm going to talk about lie number 2, which is false numbers. I am actually even a part of this problem. I realized that I did a video on our podcast, episode 1, and I talked about the Landscape Summit. Go check that out if you haven't seen it. But I talked a bit about some of my story getting started. My first month of my second year was $12,000. Let's really break this down. My revenue has to be split between taxes, operating expenses. So I'm gonna put OpEx, okay? And then paying myself as a sole proprietor. So I'm gonna say me. 12 divided by 3 means each part gets $4,000. $4,000 to taxes, $4,000 to operating expenses, $4,000 to myself. Now, as a smart business owner that I thought I was, I knew I needed to reinvest some of the profits into the business. Me equals profits. Let me put it like that. Here's profits. I took all those profits home. But I knew that I needed to reinvest something into the business so that the business could flourish and grow. So what I did was I ended up taking a piece of my 4K down here, and I ended up giving it back into either operations or putting something aside for taxes in the future, putting something aside for savings, buying new equipment. I did something with my share of the 4K that really left me with about 3K, maybe 3,200. Let's say 3.2K. So what I told you guys on the podcast was I made 12K. What I really made was more like 3 to 3.2K, because I invested anywhere from $1,000 to $800 to $1,000 back into the business out of the profits that I made. And then before you know it, your business is so big and you have no clue how you're in this financial rut. You have no clue why things aren't going right. Why am I making so much money, but there's no money in the bank? Why am I making so much money, but it's like I'm always struggling to reach payroll? Well, a lot of times because you didn't learn your numbers. Lawn care lie number 3 is too much competition, too much market saturation. The truth is there's plenty of space, plenty of opportunity, and I want to give you guys some statistics to prove this point. Number 1 is this. Statistically, Florida, California, and New York have the most lawn care businesses. Number 2, this is a $176 billion market occurred in 2023. Third, we're the 106th largest market size of businesses in the US. Number 4, individual successful lawn companies at best service 5% of their total market. Number 5, this is projected as a growing industry through 2029. Number 6, 82% of homeowners showed increased interest in lawn care improvement as a result of the pandemic. About 60% of my total businesses came from clients unhappy with previous providers that left the industry due to financial issues. They had some type of injury, or they were going through something personal like a divorce or something like that. You know, something happened in their personal life that took time from them, and again, their company could not run without their full attention, and so they lost the business. Now, those are just those 3. I'm not even talking about the people that I got or the clientele that I've received because the previous provider just was giving poor service or just didn't have customer service, wasn't communicating well. They did great. I love the way they cut my yard, but they just wouldn't call me. They just wouldn't follow up when I asked them to do things. You know, they didn't pay attention to detail. They didn't call back or return questions or concerns that I had. Those are just small, minor things, but guess what? That's where I get a bulk of my clientele. If you go look at my lawn mistakes video, go look in the comments. There's a guy I've never met in the comments. He just so happens to be in the same area as me. He noticed that on that video, I post some shots of different houses, and he noticed one of those houses, and he was like, hey, I used to cut them like 10 years ago. Their name is such and such. And he starts running down a list of all these people, these houses he sees that used to at one point hire him, right? So I want you guys to, I say that to say, like, don't buy into the lie. Don't buy into the lie that it's just too much competition, the market is too saturated. That's actually not really an issue like you think. That actually creates more opportunities. Because of that saturation, people don't do good work. Because of that saturation, people don't pay attention to detail. Because of that saturation, people treat their own business and their own customers like they're expendable. All right, so this is gonna be a bonus lie that I believe in, that I believe really happens to a lot of people, is they feel like you gotta have all of this to be successful. This is what success is like. No, it's not. Having a shop, that's not success. Having this many different mowers is not necessarily success. You need to be able to define success for yourself and be content with reaching the level of success that you want. Hey, for me, my second year of business, I took my family, we all saw the ocean for the first time. We went out to North Carolina, stayed on the beach, had a nice little villa on the beach, like did our thing, lived it up, ate out, did all this good stuff. And I was able to go out there and pay cash. This is not to flex on nobody, but what I'm saying is at that time, that was success for me. And guess what? I didn't have half of this stuff. I think I had that orange mower right there at the time and one of those 48s. That was it. That's all I had. Those two, 1 or 2 weed eaters. I had 2 weed eaters hanging above my ceiling, 1 wooden ladder that was all rickety, a couple rakes and shovels, a trash can, and a truck. That's all I had at that time. I was a solo operator. I didn't have employees. I didn't even have commercial contracts at the time. This was all residential work. So I want you guys to understand, define your level of success and don't look to the next company. Don't even look to my company and say, you know, that's what I gotta, no. Find it for yourself and understand that you don't need any of this to be successful as you want. So outside of that, thank you for joining me for part 1 of Lawn Care Lies. Don't forget to check out the podcast, which is coming up this week, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Peace.